marriage panel night, which I love. So here's what's gonna happen. We're gonna pass out some papers and pens, and the idea is you can submit a question to a specific couple or a general question, and then pass them up to me, make their way this way, and then I'll help guide the questions. You guys ready for this? Okay. Tonight, we have 3 couples. I'm not going to say a whole lot so that they can introduce themselves. But first, please help me welcome Doug and Kelly Helsel. Let's start on the end at the end, please. Next, we have Dan and Betsy Goebel. Welcome. Did you guys see that? And Paul and Deb Holbrook. Come on up. You're going to have, remember seeing you got a marker board to start. Yeah, maybe. I don't think these students know what the newlywed game is, but we're going to share that. So you have a microphone to share. I'm going to get my microphone on, my wireless here. Where's my sound person? Check, check. Okay. So, why don't we want to get to know you briefly first. So why don't we talk about, why don't you introduce yourselves real briefly, names, anything else you want to say, maybe how long you've been married, and we'll get into some other things in a minute. So, please. Should be good to go, maybe.
Hi, we're Doug and Kelly Helsel. We've been married 10 years. We both went to NAU. Yes. And I'm pregnant with our 5th child.
I'm David Goebel, and I'm the husband of my wife here, Betsy Goebel. We have 2 children, Alex and Melanie. They're both out of the house. I am the dean of the Franklin College of Business here on campus, and we just moved here last June. So we've only been here a few months, and we've been married for 31 years.
We're Deb and Paul Holbrook. We've been married 44 years. We have various degrees from NAU and CCC and NPC, if you're familiar with college.
So we have 4 children, 3 alive. And I met my wife when I was in 9th grade on the bus and pulled her pigtails. Since 1967.
Wow.
Let's do something here to get to know you a little better, and also to find out how well you know each other. So we'll start with something simple. Gentlemen, does she prefer the beach or the mountains? Real simple. So, ladies, you're gonna write down your answer. Don't show each other. And the guys are gonna. Does she prefer the beach or the mountains? And how well do you know her? She's gonna. So, are you gonna write it down?
Do I need to write it down too?
It's better for the men write it down because then she'll show her answer first, and then we'll see how you do. Okay. We'll start on the end over there. Kelly, Doug. Beach. Yeah. The mountains. Jeff, what do you think? Beach. Okay. Who said? Well, how about this? Who said, "I love you" first? Start. This time we'll start on this side. He says, what do you say? Me. Okay? Is that a match? What do you say, Dan? Me? Nice. She says, you did. How about this? You have to think about this. What was the best gift he ever gave you? Microphone as well, and so why don't we start in the? Oh, we're ready.
My pen's dead.
Oh, okay. We can help with that. Why don't we? Sure. Why don't we start in the middle here? How about let's have Dan. Why don't you go first, and then we'll see next.
Time with our kids, and the way this worked out is, so I started the PhD program when I was 33 years old, and our family wouldn't have existed without her going out and earning the money to keep us alive and housed and clothed and fed. And so I told her when I was about to finish up the PhD program, I said, you know, when I finish this and I go out and start my job as a faculty member somewhere, if you don't want to work, you don't have to. You can stay home with the kids. We'll just set up a lifestyle such that we've been living poverty wages for a while now, but we'll set up our lifestyle such that we can do it on one salary. And so that's what we did.
Yep. Okay. This is a story too. Faith.
Please. Yeah.
It's going pretty deep pretty early here, but I grew up pretty much nothing for faith. My parents said, you know, you'll find your way if you're interested or whatever. So I searched through my college years and everything. I was searching around, and I met him, and he brought me to the church. I always think that God used him to bring me into the church. So that was a pretty good gift.
Thank you. Thank you.
Our first child. Yeah, I'm one of 4 boys, oldest. My first child was a little girl. Yes, boy was she a handful later. You know, and you don't realize what it's like to have a family until you have a family. Being a young man, working all the time, going to high school and then some college. There's nothing that sort of completes you like a family does. And wouldn't trade them for all the money in the world.
were so young. I was in 9th grade, or 8th grade, and he was in 9th grade. He bought me a little necklace, which I still have, so.
You want to say anything, Doug?
So, right before, well, make a long story short, I asked Kelly to marry me in Rome. We were there for World Youth Day, and we had an audience with the Pope and had her ring blessed by the Pope. I thought that was pretty special.
I said we recently took a trip to Alaska. From Alaska? I stay at home with our almost 5 kids, and we had a really crazy year. We sold a house, we bought a house, we started renovating that house, and it was just a crazy year, and we decided that our life and our marriage needed a little touch of adventure, and that's exactly what we got in Alaska. We went, just the 2 of us. It was our first trip alone since we got married, and we went hiking and fishing, and it was amazing. It was just the best trip ever.
Awesome. Thank you. We'll give you a little break from the board, so you can put that and the marker down. Thank you. But maybe you could tell us a little more about yourselves and how did God bring you together?
So I always said my parents showed me, especially my father, how not to be as an adult. I probably went to church twice before I met my wife. I was searching at the age of 18 or 19. I went to probably every church in Tucson there was of denomination. And my wife was a cradle Catholic, and always felt that religion was important for many, many reasons. Her father sponsored me at the age of 28 when I became Catholic. Statistically, both members, both couples, being part of the church increases the odds you stay married by 25%. That's phenomenal. There's some other things that will cause marriage to dissolve, which is pretty obvious, but it was, to me, something that was missing in my life. And once I got that house in order, I think many other things became really clear. We retired both together in 2015. And we've both been very active. It's one of the reasons I can actually stay retired. I retired when I was 38 the first time. Yeah, it was a disaster. I'm part of the Knights of Columbus. I spend a lot of time helping community, church, family, all of those things. So, yeah, it's important, really, really, really important.
Additional comments?
Well, I have to say that my parents were also, my dad was a convert. And so it was, my parents said, you're going to have a hard life if you continue with this relationship, because she wanted the best for me. And she said, he's from a divorced home, and this was the 60s. And, his dad didn't make a good impression on my parents to top it all off. And, you know, I went against what my parents said. And it was really hard, but I think there was the hand of God, you know, because it came out all right. I don't know the end of your story, so.
How did God bring you together?
Well, I think I already touched on that. I think God sent him to me. Like you, I was searching, something was missing, and Dan came in my life at work, actually. We met at work. And I spent more time with him and with his family, and I saw what a great relationship they all had and the kind of peace he had in his life. And I thought, this is really cool. There's something to this. And he was actually my sponsor, and I became Catholic before he asked me to marry him. So it was something. I didn't do it for him.
Right.
Yeah. But it worked out. Yeah. He was.
I think we knew where we were headed with our relationship at that point. So,
Early.
yeah, very early on. And I think just when you think back to all the sort of the paths that you take in your life, and you know, I got my undergraduate degree, and then I went to work in Houston, Texas for a year, and got tired of Houston, Texas after a year and all that traffic going on down there. Because I was a farm boy from central Illinois, and you know, that whole environment didn't do anything for me. And so came back and ended up getting a job at the same company where we ended up meeting, and then things just happened after that. And I think throughout our whole relationship, God has always been in our life. And there have been a couple times when some people have told us, you know, sort of challenged us and said, first one was my boss at where we were working, and we were working and we were dating at the time, and he found out. He pulled me to the office one day and he said, Dan. He said, you don't get your honey where you get your money. So I got a new job. I left the company and went to work someplace else. And so then when I was thinking about going to get a PhD, I did a little tour around, talked to some faculty members at places where I was thinking about applying to go to school, and I was sitting in the office of one faculty member at this one pretty prestigious university that everybody would know the name of if I mentioned it. And then the person said, are you married? And I said, yes. And he said, you won't be by the time you're finished.
Or at least not to the
Or
same.
at least not to the same person. And I said, how? You have no idea who you're talking to and what you're talking about. So needless to say, I didn't go to school there. And so I think God has been, yeah, I took that on as a challenge, and God has been guiding us along the path the whole way.
Awesome, thank you. So I'm a cradle Catholic. I didn't really go to church a lot as a kid. I got into competitive soccer fairly early, so we were always doing the soccer thing on weekends. And then just kind of all of a sudden, one Sunday morning I woke up and really felt like I should go to church. I had done all my sacraments and all that stuff through the RE classes and stuff. So I knew what church was, I'd been there and stuff, but hadn't been in a long time. Woke up one morning and just said, I'm gonna go to church. And I walked down the stairs and my mom says, where are you going? So I'm going to church. She said, okay. Have a good time. So I went and I sat in the back, and right before Mass started, there was something going on with the youth group, and they were making an announcement. This would have been, sorry for timing, this would have been the summer between my junior and senior year of high school. And the youth group was making an announcement, and so some of these teens from the youth group walked up the aisle next to me up to make their announcement. One of them was Kelly, and they kind of turn around and make their, I think they were doing a skit or something, and I saw Kelly, and almost immediately I just thought, something is really special about that girl. I don't know what it is, but I just had this feeling. And then, I don't think it was that weekend, but one of the other weekends, the Life Team Mass was right after, or the Life Team group met right after Mass. And so I went and I sat down in the chair waiting for Life Team to start. And these two girls come and sit right in front of me. And they sit down. They both turn around at the same time. Hello! So that's how I got introduced to her. Funny thing is, she was going to let her friend have me. But I wasn't interested in her friend. So literally, I feel like God knocked me upside the head and said, "Go to church, there's something for you."
That is how it went down. Like really great pickup skills. But I feel like throughout our dating, there was many consolations from the Lord along the way. We were married. Doug proposed at World Youth Day. I graduated high school in June, went on that pilgrimage in August, and so I was 18 years old when he asked for my hand in marriage. We were married as sophomores here at NAU. He's 2 years older, so he was newly graduated. But I was a sophomore when I got married, and there was lots of questions, like how do we afford the rest of my tuition? How do we start a life together in Flagstaff? But I remember right before you were going to ask me to marry you, you know how churches have the signs up with like little inspirational sayings or whatever? There was one near Doug's house, and he was really discerning whether or not to ask me to marry him so young. And I remember you told me that you drove home and you read the sign and it said, you were having this conversation with God in the truck, really asking him, is now the time? And the sign said, jump and the net will appear. And then he went home, did whatever he needed to do, and drove back past that church, and that sign was gone. And so I feel like there was little nudges from the Lord that he just always sort of pointed us towards marriage and pointed us.
Even more powerful. I was listening to the radio, and I don't think this exists, but someone on the radio, whoever was talking on the radio, said it's National Date to decide to get married day or something like that. And I was like, really? And I think I've thought about it since, and it doesn't exist. So.
That's right.
Here's the next question. What did you see in the other person that made you believe this could work? Which is another way of saying, how did you know this was the one? But what did you see that made you think that this would work for marriage?
And will be, beneath me, but it was this goal of his to get an education and work hard and get a job so that someday he could provide for a family. And I found that incredibly attractive. And I just remember thinking, this guy has his stuff together, and he works hard, and that's what I wanted in a spouse. And so I thought, yes, this is the guy that I want to hitch my wagon to.
I think we kind of were in the same place spiritually when we first met, and I think just growing together in our faith through Life Teen and then through college and stuff. And I think just every step along the way we've been able to grow with each other and learn together. And so I think that's really helped us to bond, and it's been the center of our marriage and
work, I was working on the first floor, and then I got a new job, and I was up on the second floor. And I was sitting at a desk with another gal, and she was training me on what I was supposed to be doing. And all the women up there had already gotten their little heads together that I needed to meet this guy. And so I was sitting at the desk, and they were working, and she throws me an elbow, and she says, "That's the one, you need to meet him." And he walked by, he'd been working out in the gym a lot. This big chest, and he went totally oblivious to me. He went walking by, and I said, "Kathy, he's out of my league, I can't get him." But we started flirting, and we flirted for 3 months. Our bosses were so glad when we finally started dating. We could get work done because we were flirting all the time. But in that time, I learned a lot about him and his family and his background and the whole, you guys have, the whole farmer ethic. I don't know, work hard, the work ethic, the family, importance of family. Those were things that I found attractive. And I saw in him what I knew he could become. And like you, it's like I want to be with that. So, and his sense of humor. We have a similar sense of humor, and that carries you through a lot. Go ahead. Say.
I just thought she was really cute. But, you know, and she just had this glow about her, a great smile. Actually, the first time we met, we went to a party. There were several people about our age working in the same company, and so this one person had a party towards the end of the summer. And I actually went to the party to meet somebody else that I was kind of interested in. But I ended up meeting her, and I found out, you know, her name, where she went to school, and there was a person who worked in my same department who went to the same college, university that she did. And so when I started asking him a little bit, I said, "Hey, do you know her?" And, "No, I don't, but so you guys don't meet." So then I kept seeing her at work, and it's just the reinforcement and just seeing that glow, like I said, the smile. And as we got to know each other more, it was that sense of humor and the personality. And she also challenged me in a lot of ways. And that was one thing that I didn't expect in a relationship with a woman, and it was very welcome. And she, well, you have to understand where I grew up, you know, for that to make sense. But it's one thing I didn't expect from her, and it was a refreshing change, and it was one that I thought, you know, we could do some great things together, and we had.
Awesome. What would you say, one of the questions here posed is, anybody can answer this, what's the best thing about marriage?
Experiences together. There's all the experiences I've had with my wife have been first experiences. With anybody else, they're never going to be first experiences. I don't care who's across the aisle, who walks through the door. She's the one that I have had all the great experiences with. And whenever I look back, I think about, you know, our first child, when we went to Hawaii, Germany, all the travels we've done since we retired, you know, all of those things, 40 years worth of experiences together. You can't put a price on that. Is it easy? No. You have to work at marriage.
One of the things, as you become our age, you will probably read up on retirement, and the biggest thing now is loneliness. And I just want to speak to the technology, because not being physically with a person, do you really know that person? Can you pretend to be a different person through the technology? You really want to know who this person is. And so, you know, I mean, this is what I tell my daughters. They don't listen, but I'll try. I tell them, look and see the man you're going to marry, you're interested in. Look at their home life, how they grew up. you know, it just so happened I had a diamond in the rough. But you really have to know where they're coming from and who they are before you either get emotionally, maybe physically involved with the person, because then you think you get to go back and you get trapped in a relationship that maybe wasn't the right one, that wasn't God-centered. So just a caution to throw out to you, to really know the person before you get too far down a road that maybe you shouldn't be traveling. And when Father Matt called me to speak tonight, I said, I better start praying, because I want you to have the best relationships that you can possibly have. And to have, you know, a companion who cares about you. And that's what I want for each of you.
So, what's the best thing about marriage? We always, the phrase we have is team. We're a team, and sometimes it's us against the world, like these challenges that have come up throughout our lives. We're a team, and God's the glue that keeps us together. And, you know, the whole best friend thing. But I've always got somebody that's got my back, and I've got his back, and we're just a great team. Teamwork.
So I think, well, so when we first got married, people would ask us, you know, what's the best thing about being married? And we'd always say, I don't have to drive home at night. And the kind of the background of that is, Kelly and I dated for 5 years. 2 of those we were engaged, and so it was really difficult, you know, having this person that I wanted to be married to for 2 years, and then, you know, we'd spend evenings together, and then I'd have to get in the car and drive across town and go home. So that was kind of always our thing that we'd say early on. But to add to that a little bit, and it's kind of going along the same theme, but you always have somebody to go home to. You have that person, no matter what happens at work or what's happening with the kids, or just whatever life throws at you, you have someone to go home to and to be with and to talk to.
I agree. I think also I enjoy just something more to happen, even if we're at a dinner party, I can shoot Doug a look and he can like read my mind verbatim, so I bring that in to you. And I just feel like there is this common experience between Doug and I that like towards the end of our life, like you'll be the only one that understands what it took to get all the way to the end. And just the fact that we have a Catholic sacramental marriage, like, even when I'm at my ugliest or, you know, we're having a bad day, I know that the only way this is ending is until death do us part. Someone's going out in a casket. Like, no one's leaving this gig. Like, because it gets real and it gets ugly sometimes. But that is the only option. And there's like this, it's just a really safe place. And I think that's where our friendship thrives as well. So that's good.
Thank you. That's a good lead-in for the next question of how have you experienced challenge and growth or difficulty in your marriage? And how did God bring you through that?
Well, I'll take that one on. My husband, when he announced, I don't know if you heard the subtext there, we have 3 living children and 1 dead, 1 deceased. We had a stillbirth in 1990. And statistically, we should not still be married, because that is one of the hardest things that you would ever go through in a relationship. And prayer, talking to others. I mean, I did turn away from God, I will admit. You know, I did not go to church for maybe 5 years because I was just so hurt. I didn't have the faith and the understanding. But But I still prayed. It's just I couldn't be part of the community because I didn't understand.
So during that time, guys, we tend to be fixers. We want to fix things. You can't fix it. What you need to learn is to listen. Like, it was really hard. I'm telling you. You know, I analyzed it, cataloged it, filed it. I was done in 6 months. You know, 1990, and it's still there. Your wife will want you to listen and be there for her. She won't necessarily want you to tell her how it's to be handled. And, you know, that's something that was really difficult for me to figure out. You know, I kept hitting myself in the wall and going, why doesn't this work? You know, it's because we're different. You know, and, you know, it's not that we don't love our wives. We don't like to see them hurt. But sometimes we have to understand a little bit more about each other.
I think we're kind of struggling because I think we both agree we really haven't had struggles in our marriage. Our marriage hasn't struggled. How's that? Yeah. Our marriage has always been solid. I would say maybe a rough patch, not for our marriage, but just for our life, was when he was in his doctoral program and I was working and we had 2 little kids in diapers and there was just a lot going on. And I sometimes refer to that as our my desert experience, because going to church, I just kind of went through the motions. I wasn't there, really. I was wrestling kids and, you know, the whole thing.
I was the same way.
You were the same way?
Well, yeah, I was studying and doing what I could with the kids. It wasn't much.
But it was all appreciated.
Yeah, and then we ended up
going to, my first job as a faculty member was at the University of Southern Mississippi. We ended up in a Catholic community there that was awesome. Had an Irish priest named Father Murphy, and he was awesome. And our first year there, they decided to do small group Bible study.
It's called Renew.
Yeah, small group Bible studies thing, and they were asking for volunteers. And we were getting more involved in the church at that point. And we had our children who was in the Catholic school, which we ended up pulling them out of because the education there wasn't great. But that's a whole other story. So, but anyway, we were getting more involved in the church. We were getting more renewed in our faith. And so they asked for volunteers to lead these small Bible study groups. And we decided to do that, and because we thought, you know, we're new to the community just like we are now, and we thought, well, let's do this. We're going to get to know a lot more people in the community by doing that. And it was great to get to know more people who also want to learn more about the faith. And it brought us together, you know, made us stronger in our faith, and we've just kind of been on this upward, I think, trajectory ever since.
I think the church in Mississippi and the Renew, like, relit the spark that had kind of been, you know, that during the doctoral programs when we really needed prayer and everything, but he was there anyway.
He was.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I do feel like our faith has been a crucial element in getting through difficult times for Doug and I think maybe just at the very basic level, there's somebody there to remind you of your faith and to grab your hand and say, you know, this suffering has purpose and you're not alone and we're going to do it together. Has always been like one of the great gifts that you've given me when we've had a struggle. Just someone to remind you of of God's love, and that you will do it together. That's what I would say for me.
Yeah, I think to add to that, we're told that God won't give us something, anything that we can't handle, and He won't give us the graces to overcome it. And so, yeah, just being there, like Kelly said, to remind each other of that, and we have what we need somewhere. We just got to find out what that is and how to get through that.
This next question, maybe we'll start with you guys, kind of comment. It's like, the question is, how have you lived chastity in the different phases of your relationship? And so, what was going through your head that got you to leave at night and drive home?
It was hard. And like I said, Kelly and I were engaged for 2 years before we got married, and there was kind of a lot that went into that, deciding to do that. But like I said, she said yes. We had this relationship where we wanted to be married, and we weren't for a long time, and so it was hard. It was hard to leave. But I think very early on, it's probably at one of the retreats or something that we went to together, but there was some sort of talk at the retreat, and we were able to talk about it afterwards. And we really just made that commitment to each other, and we even filled out these little chastity cards. I don't know if they still have those. But we filled out these little chastity cards at that retreat, and I gave mine to Kelly on our wedding night, or on our wedding day, and it was just really important to us. And we knew, we were growing together, and so we were learning about all of it together, and we knew that God had a plan for how marriage is supposed to work and the good things, but it was hard.
Doug and I, we teach natural family planning for the parish and the Diocese of Phoenix. And we have used natural family planning for all 10 years of our marriage. And so chastity within marriage also happens. There are times in your marriage when you just cannot be intimate, even like after the birth of a child. You wait for 6 weeks, and because Doug had shown me he was a man of self-mastery and self-control, like those 6 weeks didn't matter. I didn't feel the pressure to like get it back together really quick so that we could have this intimacy again. Like I knew that there was other parts of our relationship that we could rely on, like the friendship and the team aspect. When you're raising children, teamwork is a huge deal. But I always knew that I was worth waiting for, like for whatever time period that we did have to abstain or remain chaste. And I'm so grateful that we did say goodbye at the end of the night, even though there was many nights where I wish he would have stayed and that we could have been intimate. But looking back now, over the engagement and 5 years of dating, that was difficult. It was hard to know that this was the person, like this was going to be it. And so it was easy to try to rationalize in your head, sure, like why not this one time? But we did have that commitment very early on that we were going to remain chaste until our wedding day. And by God's grace, we made it. But chastity is still exercised in our marriage because the Lord requires that of us with natural family planning to space children. But that exercise in dating has made the chastity within marriage that much easier, I think, because that's when like we throw in the extra date night, or we have we play games or whatever is fun for us as friends. And it makes it easier.
We didn't wait 5 years. We started, our first date was on Memorial Day weekend. She's amazed that I even remember stuff like that. And then that was in 1985. We were married in November of '86. So you know, I guess it was just a knowledge that was that.
We both dated a lot of people, and we knew what we liked and didn't like, and what we wanted, and we found who we wanted.
I was 26. She was 24 when we got married.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, yeah, we knew what we wanted, and we knew that there was a huge reward at the end. And so that was the motivator for us. And you know, also we use natural family planning as well. And so that's was a huge part of our relationship. And one of the things that she whispered into my ear when we were talking about how God had entered our life during our marriage is we found out when we started wanted to have children is that we had issues, infertility issues with that. And so, you know, so God definitely was with us at that point because we desperately wanted to have children, and it took us a really, really long time. You know, but eventually we were blessed with 2 of them, and so it all worked out for the better part. But you know, so there's obviously God was in our life at that point, and He was in our life during our dating time, and during the early years when we were using natural family planning. And it turns out we probably really didn't need it.
It worked great for us.
Well, we were the wild children. I was dating somebody who wasn't Catholic. We took the pre-Cana. We had premarital sex. I was on the pill for a while. We did it the wrong way. I don't recommend it, but that's how we were. We were very young. We only had relations with each other, but still we did not wait for marriage. So I can definitely be an advocate to please wait. That's why I did say wait until you know that that person is your person. And chastity is an important part of a relationship.
How do you now, what kind of days, or how do you kind of keep the relationship strong now? Or, which might even be a good suggestion for the college students about what are good days?
One of the things that happens in life is that you tend to forget stuff. 10, 15, 40 years down the road. Why did you marry this person? You forget those things. Don't forget them. Think about it. It's important. So whether it's, you know, making time, because that's what you did when you first started dating. You made time for that person. You guys don't know a lot about me. I love to bowl. That's for, if you guys bowl, that's for bowling 800 in 3 games. It's the hardest thing to do. I would normally bowl on Thursday night. You make time for that person, for special things that are important. You know, she's got a bucket list of where she wants it, sits on my computer. So when we plan, I look at the bucket list, her bucket list, and we make sure we do those plans. It's not about me. That's what you got to remember. When you were dating, wasn't about you, it was about the other person, what you wanted, how you wanted to please that other person. As you get older, you tend to forget that stuff. Don't. Make sure you say thank you. 40 years, I don't think I've ever told her that a meal she made was terrible. I love to eat. She cooked for...
She cooked tonight's dinner.
She cooked tonight's dinner. She cooked dinner last night for the Knights of Columbus business meeting. Yeah. I mean, I was fully prepared. I don't know what they would have gotten. Peanut butter and jelly. But yeah, don't forget what brought you two together and what you did for each other. Because it's so easy to do.
What's the question again?
How do you continue to pursue each other, but also what are maybe things you do for dates or that might even give college students ideas for healthy dates?
Yeah, I don't know, we haven't been on a date in a long time. My job is just such that I work crazy hours, and then when I get home, what we do though, is when I get home, we will just, like, turn the TV off or whatever, and just spend time with each other. Get a glass of wine, talk about our days. I tell her what's going on with my day and my life and with my job and my coworkers and students in the college and everything going on campus, and she tells me what she's been doing all day, talking to our kids and finding out what's going on in their life. And we have a dog that we do quite a bit of stuff with, and she trains the dog, and we talk about the dog activities and that kind of stuff is important. And so when I'm on, when I'm away from on business and I'm out of town, we continue to have those conversations. Although they're by a phone, we continue to have those conversations. And so that's kind of what we do.
Yeah, stay connected that way. And we have dinner, 9:30 at night sometimes, but we always have dinner together. That was something that was important when the kids were little, that even through high school and everything, we always had dinner together. So that's how we stay connected.
That's how we get
That's how we get the family. Yeah, we're kind of boring on dates though. Sorry.
So I think it changes. What we do now and what we enjoy doing together now is definitely different than when we were first dating, first married. I think early on it's really important. Always trying to learn something new, do something that movies and stuff like that are fun, but there's no real interaction with each other, and so we can try and do some stuff together that you learn something about the other person. And then I think now, with kids and all that stuff, we also try and kind of get together. It's usually as we're getting into bed and how's your day? Try not to fall asleep, but
hike together a lot. We've gone rim to rim, and we did a bunch of hiking in Alaska, and I think our marriage and friendship just sort of thrives on this element of adventure together. And like if we can take a trail and it's quiet and you drop off all your Wi-Fi and you talk to each other, and I don't know, there's something that comes alive in Doug when he's outside, and so there's a little bit of a different side to you when he teaches me or shows me something that he loves also. Doug's an avid outdoorsman and hunter and fisherman, and so when he displays those skills, also it's very attractive, and I just like watching him in his element too, and that he would share that with me and bring me along for that. It was really great. Like in Alaska, we went salmon fishing for the first time. I've never been fishing like that in my whole life. But to like strap on a pair of waders, get in the water, throw in a pole, and for him to tell me that like that was the most beautiful I'd ever been, that I felt like I looked like a dude. Like, it was just great. It was so rough. I
question. So looking back, for people who perhaps are called to the vocation of marriage, what advice do you have for college students? If God's calling you to marriage one day, whether they met the person or not, what advice do you have? And you can talk about your props too, Deb.
Well, while she gets the props ready, I'll jump in. Although I just had a brain cramp. Go ahead.
Oh, well, a couple things off the top of my head. Fight fair. My mom said, she told me that be very careful what you say because you can't unsay it. So don't get in the heat of the battle, but be careful what you say and fight fair. And the other thing, that we've lived and we pass this advice on is keep your problems between you. If you go talking to your girlfriends or your guys at work, they're going to take your side and it's just going to escalate and feed and nurture whatever the issue is. Work it out between the two of you.
With God's help.
With God's help.
Yeah.
But when you get your girlfriends involved, it's just going to escalate and be a worse problem than it needs to be.
We've actually written that on marriage card, wedding cards that we give to other couples as they get married. You know, keep your,
You have the maturity to enter into this relationship. You have the maturity to make it work. And as was said down there, one of us is leaving this relationship in a casket. And when you enter a relationship with that as the only option, you do what you need to do. And I echo what was said over here earlier. It's work to be married, but you do what you need to do because it's so very much worth it.
Yeah, it is work. It's a decision. A happy marriage is a decision that you address every day. It just doesn't happen, you know, with rainbows and unicorns.
Well, my kids, they always hated, they're like, you and Dad are always fighting. But if you don't bring it out to the light of day, it doesn't get resolved. So there is such a thing as a good fight where you allow yourself to vent in a safe way, of course. But if you just let it fester, it's not going to help your relationship grow. And one of the things I found is I have the ABCs of marriage, and I'll just give you A, B, and C. It says absolutely adore each other, be best friends, compromise. And actually, I didn't realize, I told my son, I said, well, I'm going to go talk about our marriage. You know, it's like, oh, Mom. He's like, well, he says, well, I would say just talk about compromise. So it's here on the card, so it's true. And when I know young people that are getting married, I usually frame this, it's called the prayer of spouses for each other. And one of the things I learned was that the goal in the relationship is for you and your spouse to help each other get to heaven. And so I thought that was a beautiful thought. And, you know, that is your plan, and you will treat that person a little bit nicer if you keep that in mind. That, you know, they're helping you, you're helping them. And, you know, if you're not working out your problems or communicating correctly, or even maybe doing the ABCs, it doesn't happen without work. And sometimes it's blood, sweat, and tears. You know, I'm the crier, but...
So, as you begin to think about getting married, I actually went through classes, and we talked about what are you going to promise? I don't know about you, but you make a promise, you keep it. Promises are not lightly given. When I made the promise to take Deb, for better or for worse, in sickness and health, until death do we part, that's a promise I made. We don't break promises. And I've been happy ever since. You know, you talk about chastity. There's also chastity of a sort, after you've gotten married. You know, the new guy that got hired into the office is cute, and he starts flirting with you. You turn around and tell him, I'm sorry, I'm married. Go away. You know, I mean, we've been in situations, we were in San Francisco, and this woman walks out in the street fully naked. And I turned around and walked the other way. You know, I don't ever want to put myself in a position, ever, where I have to say, I'm sorry for stupid stuff. You know, certainly preventable. And how you look today, how pretty she looks, how handsome he looks, guess what happens? Yep. Guys, you try having 4 children. It's not easy. Changes occur and it's hard. Your wife is your best friend forever. Forever. And you can't ever get a first best friend.
So I think what I might have told myself as a college student who was discerning a vocation to marriage, I think maybe a few things would be to foster your own interests as well as common interests. I think there have been times when like your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your spouse can become your whole world, and that's a slippery slope because you're in love with a human being. I probably would have told myself to foster my own interests as well as supporting Doug in his own interests, to practice being each other's biggest fans, no matter what they wanted to do. I remember Doug really supporting me when I took my GRE, but there was evidence of that in our dating. Like, that wasn't a surprise to me when I said, I want to go to grad school, and he said, yeah, let's do it. That was something we practiced while we were dating and engaged. Like, we supported each other's dreams. And yeah, I guess that's what I would have told myself as a college student.
I think there's such a distorted view on what love is these days, and so you know the love that's portrayed in movies or music or whatever is not real love. Real love is sacrificial, right? It's choosing her over me. It's choosing my children over me. So I think one of the best things you can do is become and to practice selflessness and putting, especially that other person first, and really practicing that and learning what that means in different situations. Because it's hard today. I mean, I think everybody struggles with selfishness and wanting to do what you want to do, and just throughout dating or early marriage, or even where we're at now, 10 years down the road with 5 kids, it's a struggle to put other people first sometimes. And so I think trying to really understand what love is between spouses and what God had intended and what God has designed for that is important.
I'm sorry. I also just feel like I would tell somebody who thinks they're called to marriage to not be afraid of that vocation, because I feel like today, with the divorce rate being so high, and maybe you come from a broken home or you don't have a good example of marriage, that doesn't mean that has to be your story. And I feel like the Catholic Church specifically really holds marriage up in a different way. And I think if you enter into a sacramental marriage, this is a game changer. And I don't want young people to be afraid to get married young if you think that's what you're called to, because I think our church needs like healthy, young, beautiful, vibrant marriages. I think it's beautiful, and we need more of them. So I would tell you that if you think you're called to marriage, to not be afraid.
And pray for your future spouse. If you know who that is or not, that prayer, God is beyond anything that we could ever imagine. So he's, lack for a better way to say, he's applying that, applying those prayers, and it goes well.
Awesome. Thank you for the witness tonight.